The team has fully now been assembled. Prior, we were waiting for the assembly has occurred, and we are trying to push even further with getting the blessing and help almost here of the Count, Mr. Piast, and hopefully he caves in a little bit, having his own issues and his own feelings, rightfully so, of not wanting his life's work to go towards the thing that he's been against and not actively been researching. But at the same time, a man who wants to see that be used, a man who can see himself or see elements of himself in from the people or person, I guess, that he was really brought into this world through, potentially right in front of him. So it's pretty cool for that. And hopefully he's able to come around to it and we get him a little bit on our side. I don't know how much use he's going to prove outside of here's some notes and knowledge and things you can get. But honestly, that's probably the most that we can really get to begin with out of anybody. So outside of somebody, of course, just knowing all the answers. So I think that's a pretty fair and great trade-off at the end of the day. So hopefully it's successful and hopefully we do convert him a little bit towards the general understanding that it's better to pass these things along and for somebody else to even utilize your own work while not being directly towards the thing that you were looking into. It can still be utilized and you can still have your hand in the potential success that may come out of it. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully the dynamic gets continued to evolve a little bit and maybe just be more established from what we've already had with our main three now. And I'm very excited for that and to see where they decide to take these things. Hopefully you enjoy. If you like it all, like and subscribe. Not to my feel free to stick around for the discussion on the comments as the series is going with episode 9. We haven't really made any progress. Thought we were doing it in your lifetime. I thought you were going to be the one who did it. I thought we weren't giving this out to anybody. What do you mean? It's magnificent. But why am I in here, though? I'm kind of him.
宇宙の正しい形だ。協力者はいらない。きっと真理にたどり着けるのは選ばれしただ一人だけ。完成まで誰にも明かすまいと誓っていた。では、なぜ今私に？その一人とは私ではなく君かもしれんからだ。長年研究しているといろいろ見えてくる。観測、理論。
Sometimes you gotta pass it on.
そのすべてにおいて今や君が勝っている。真理への道はあまりに狭い。だが、君ならたどり着けるかもしれん。すぐに着手しろとは言わん。興味があればいつでも言え。そうだ。勇気を持って挑むんだ。教授の宇宙を完成させ。なんだ、あれは。こんな見間違いするなんて私も疲れてるな。教授、お時間よろしいでしょうか。宇宙の完成についてですが。
Got some bad news.
考えてくれたか。はい、素晴らしいひらめきだと思います。いや、歴史を変えるものだ。しかし、やはり私には不相応です。宇宙の完成など扱いきれない。そうか。気が変わったらいつでも言ってこい。
If, when?
私が完成させる直前に言っても遅いぞ。5年前、あの話を断ったのは
5 years. Crazy.
研究を疑っていたからだろう。そんな、あれは素晴らしい。
How can you let a man down like that?
見たことがない。それを疑ったことは一度もない。だが が完成しないのだ。いくらやっても。私の能力では常に看過できない誤差が出てしまう。結局私は一生かかっても。
That's why you reach out to somebody else who can help. And your first hand might be able to witness turning them away. You're going to fall down the same path.
から全て間違いだった場合だ。だとしたら私はなんて無駄な人生を。
違う、そんなのありえない。宇宙が完成しなかったのは教授の能力が単に足りなかっただけだ。だからあの研究は間違いじゃない。捧げた教授の人生も間違ってない。
つか天国で私に聞かせてくれ。真理を。教授は
言ったよ。
Now I will find the truth.
研究室へ
Yep,
行く。
immediately to work.
こんな時に
Bury and distract yourself.
宇宙を完成させる。
Commit your life.
結果、記録を見せてやるといい。
What's the but?
ただし、
Oh, here we go.
貴様らの間違いを証明することだ。
それはどういう？
昔、私はあるものを見た。いや、見間違えた。当然そんな勘違い、今はもう気にもかけていない。しかし一度の見間違いが私の人生
Look how he describes that.
させたのは事実だ。だからこの木にはっきりとあれは誤りだったと確証を得たい。満ちた金星だ。
は？
満ちた金星。
Okay, for us slower folk, please explain.
当然金星も地球の周りを回ってます。ということは太陽に照らされる方向もある程度決まっていて、金星は常に欠けて見えるんです。
しかし金星が満ちている場合、金星は太陽の後ろへ回り込んで照らされていなければならない。この状況では惑星は太陽を中心に動いていると考えるのが自然だ。つまりこれで地球中心という現状の宇宙論は退けられる。
Bro literally realized that all those years ago and instead cast in doubt.
金星が観測できぬなら地動説など退けられる。本当に貴様らの仮説が正しいなら、金星が小さく遠い今日はまさに満ちて見えるはず。今夜すべてのけりをつけ。
I love how it's not something we gotta wait like a year for. Yeah. All right, read the letters on here.
ほどの大きさの図形が書かれている。それが視覚か深淵か答えろ。これができれば当時の私と同程度の視力だと言える。
この距離から瞳の大きさのものなんて
無謀だ。
さあ、
It's not even drawn on there.
見えたか？
いえ、どちらでもありません。書かれてるのは右が欠けた半円です。
I tried to trick you.
いいだろう。私は部屋へ戻る。
That's all we needed.
手が出たら呼べ。
We couldn't have done this from your room. Just have somebody stand like all the way out in the hall with it.
もし今日満ちた金星が見えなかったら、地球は宇宙の中心にあって、つまり底辺に貼り付けられてるってことですよね。心配なんです。なんというか、俺はやっぱりそっちの方が事実な気がして。
Like that last second doubt, like, fuck, it's happening. I know it's gonna be.
この世は最低というには魅力的すぎる木の類の者たちですら、なぜか全て美しさを備えてる。これには何か理由があっていい。それが地球の運動なのかもしれない。大地と夜空が一つなら、どんなに怪我してもこの世から輝きは簡単に消えない。
俺が金星が満ちてるって言っても、ピャスト博は信じないって可能性はありませんか？
Sure.
だがその場合でも
We'll believe you, though.
少
Yeah.
なくとも私は真理を入れる。不安か。
もちろんですよ。
The world is literally in his hand.
俺が見るものは結果がどちらにせよ宇宙の何かを確定させてしまうんですよね。気が重いに決まってます。それにあなたたちが普段話してることもやってることも正直俺はよくわからない。
Right. And I'm gonna be the one who determines this.
もっとわからない。一番よくわからないのは俺は今満ちた金星が見たいってことです。
Nice.
では、我々が君に
Get
できること
get the fuck outside.
はい。けど、もしよければ、期待してください。
I love how he tells them that after he was just the guy who was casting doubt on it. Needed that little pep talk to get him going, though. In an instant, too, I bet. Yeah.
満ちてろ。見れろ。
To the heavens.
満ちてろ。見えろ。
Fun display.
満ちてる。不思議だ。ずっと前と同じ空を見てるのに、少し前からまるで違って見える。
だろうな。きっとそれが何かを知るということだ。
認めんぞ。こんなこと。貴様らの嘘だ。私を騙しているな。
そんな。
いや、よく考えれば、もし本当に金星が本当に満ちているとしても、それは金星が太陽を回っている証拠であって、地球が動いている証明にはならない。私の説の方が正しいのだ。
ええ、確かに。
貴様らのような若造どもにはわからんのだ。私の歴史も人類の歴史も積み上げられた研究はこんな一瞬で否定してよいものではない。
Listen, that's
それは
fair.
積み重ねた研究を一瞬で否定する力があって、個人の都合や信念を軽く超えて、究極に無慈悲で、それゆえに平等な。そんなものがあるとしたら、それを何と言うと思いますか？
The truth.
それ
いつか天国で私に聞かせてくれ。
Find me the truth.
それは真理だ。
Look how easy it feels to convince these guys. It's not, but like it feels that way.
の鍵だ。すべてはここにある。
ありがとうございます。では、いただきます。
He's old, just rip it from
この鍵の先に何年分の人生が積み重ねられていると。
It's like your master, and if they fail, person they hand it to.
1000年だ。もし過去の積み重ねの先に答えがないなら、真理にとって我々は無駄だったかもしれん。しかし、たとえ誤りでも何かを書き留めたことは歴史にとって無意味ではない。そう願っている。
どうでした？
驚異的だ。これで当面は研究に専念できる。早速だが、オクシー君はここの資料を村まで運んでくれ。屋敷の研究者でもないのにここで作業するわけにはいかない。
あ、はい。
Just gotta take it from her.
選択は君に任せるが、私としてはできればここで外れてほしい。研究は一人で行いたい。
Right. He did say it was gonna be him
と
alone.
いうか、今の私ではこれ以上協力できないでしょうし。
とはいえ、今回の件は非常に助かった。 私がこんなことを言うのも非
Just
常に
feel free to stop by.
何か一つ頼みを聞き入れよ
Oh.
では地動説を完成
That's okay. Settled. That's
う。我々が捕まったとしても、君は無関係を貫け。
that's fair.
それが君のためにも、地動説のためにもなる。
聞いていいですか？
Can you say something to keep her involved?
文字が読めるってどんな感じなんですか？
It's not something you usually think about.
教会の信徒としてこんな表現を気軽に使っちゃいけないことは分かってます。でもその表現以外で表せないから言いますけど、文字はまるで奇跡ですよ。もちろん救世主様が起こす奇跡とは
Right. Of course. Gotta throw that in there to cover ourselves.
が使えると時間と場所を超越できる。200年前の情報に涙が流れることも、1000年前の噂話で笑うこともある。そんなの信じられますか？文字を読むときだけはかつていた偉人たちが私に向かって口を開いてくれる。その一瞬、この時代から抜け出せる。文字になった思考はこの世に残って、ずっと未来の誰かを動かすことだってある。そんなのまるで奇跡じゃないですか。
そんなに。
はい。
Fuck, what have I been missing out on? I'm gonna have to lock in, brother. His life's really just starting now. Bro, I still can't believe it. He's out here. Fun.
やっとお話できます。真理を。
A sacrifice, not of one's life, but of one's life work, of one's reason to essentially keep going in the belief that they almost have the strides that they intend to make to present the positive news, likely in the afterlife, coming face to face with their mentor. All comes crashing down as Mr. Pias comes to terms. There has to, unfortunately for him, and fortunately in a way, towards the end of the episode, with what he came face to face with years and years ago, the thing that he refused to fully accept. And it makes you wonder, had he just done that, had he just been as bold as he claims that he would try and go out there and be, where his life would be and what he personally would have discovered, and maybe where the world would be at if he took that route when that time came. This is a weird episode for me personally. This part of the discussion might seem a little weird, and it's just kind of where my mind's at, and I'm not too sure how else to take it, so I just want to talk about it. This episode is really good. Like, visually, they nail a lot of the stuff that I think needs like those big impact moments. And I don't have any complaints for the way that they're done. Writing wise, it taps into a really difficult sort of thing on multiple levels almost. The levels of like learning from one's kind of mistakes in the past, or learning from the influence and direct words and things from somebody else, of course, within their past too, to then pass it down in the struggle that you may go through to fully accept that. And then like not like you're turning into the person, or you want to be that person. You idolize this this being of who you want to be, and take after. And then as time goes on, you don't become that. And that's what we see in Piast, where like some things he practices, he does, but some things he doesn't. And to the point that he fully rejects it through his own fear. and then later being able to become and accept it, and then becoming a complete mirror almost of the thing that he idolized in the first place through all the bumps and the ups and downs, of course, that he had to go through within his own life. To not even that, but the general realizations on somebody like Oxy's part of how important something like reading and writing is, things that we personally as viewers have to take and not really think about, right? How magnificent these things really are. And it's a great joy to see these characters very vibrant, like Jolenta, come on screen and be like, look at all of these great things that it's brought us and how, you know, special all of this stuff is. And it's wonderful sort of things. But I just don't really feel anything when I come out of the episode. And I don't know. I'm gonna give a reason for why I think that's the case for me. But maybe I don't know if I'm the only one in this situation. And maybe I am. But my only idea that can come down to, because I can appreciate, and we've talked about this before, I can appreciate a lot of things that are done, even if I can't directly connect to them. And we are in a situation with this story and a lot of the things that are happening, being from the future, of course, and having knowledge of them arguing of things that you know answers to in a way already. Like it feels a little weird to like you're almost looking back on it, right? But you can still appreciate and respect where it comes from. Hence why I tried to start this talk the way that I did. I can appreciate the directional choices, the writing choices, the whatever else things that I can kind of come into an understanding. But it still, at the end of the day, with all of that stuff, should add up to being something that connects or hits you in a certain way, gets you really invested, gets you on the edge of your seat, not knowing what's going to happen next, maybe get the heart rate up a little bit, just something, right? But it didn't do any of that for me. I kind of sat here just like, oh, that's cool. But like, it didn't get me. And I think the only thing I can go down to with this is just, I don't care for any of our characters. You don't know if it's just me. It's just something I was able to instantly connect and feel a type of way about Raph, about Hubert, about the people that we were invested in the first few episodes. We've had even more time with these characters, and consistently since the first episodes, I've been trying to make it a clear point to not compare them in a way to the previous characters, because we have them now and we don't need to live up directly to them. They just have to be their own persons. And while they are, there's just nothing that I'm really able to grab onto. In our initial situation, when we were with Oxy and Grass, I said I didn't really care for Oxy. I said he has interesting stuff, and I believe he's being written in a way so you can see that growth and improvement, which gets visually displayed and even, I guess, spoken to us this episode through him. Great to see all that stuff. But where he comes from, his fears, his thing that gets him going is trying to really kickstart his life here, isn't something I relate to, isn't something I personally really am getting invested in. And from the beginning, I felt that there's a chance that could happen. I did talk about how I liked Grass a little bit more, and I was interested a little bit more in his mindset towards a lot of stuff. We lose him early on, and now Oxy, I still, even when he has these big moments, I'm not like actively rooting or excited for him. But Denny's just been a non-factor for me. He's been somebody who I was excited when he first came on screen, and has had some really just funny kind of moments and confidence, I guess, oozing off of him at certain points too, but has been not really the highlight or main focus at any point that gets me really into him either. And Jolenta's somebody who I thought would spice things up a little bit, who I still agree and think she's the most interesting out of all of them, but I don't really know where we're going with her, and especially creating a scenario towards the end here where we're going to try and split, which likely isn't going to continue and happen that way. It just also leaves me questioning a little bit and not being able to fully grab onto her. And also because these realizations and the things that are coming for the most part of the episode being focused around Piast and maybe even Oxy to an extent, not really her, didn't really have to provide anything to get me into her either. So I think, or at least my mind's at, is the struggle I've been having since episode 4 with the series is just I can't really, I'm just not getting into the characters. And even in other series where there's one-offs or like very like few episodes with a specific character that's supposed to be highly emotional in some sort of way, I'm not connecting even with Piast in this situation. You're supposed to like, you look at him and it's a extremely sad, it's a beautiful story by the end of it, of course, too, with what he's able to come to terms with and give up on, but also be inspired and find hope within. But it's still, throughout the process of it, I just didn't feel it either. I think I can appreciate it to an extent, but I can't get emotionally attached or invested. It just isn't connecting or hitting with me on that sort of level. And it's a bummer because you see all these strongs, like positives within the rest of those that I want that feeling. Like I really do. I'm not getting it. And I don't know anything else. I don't know another way for me to say that, or another reason for me to find. And maybe there isn't, right? Maybe this is a situation where I'm trying to find something and I'm trying to put blame on something so that I can experience and feel a type of way that I think I created, expectations I almost created for myself through the initial first few episodes that I felt really got me invested on all parts. And I'm just trying to find that reason to feel like I'm valid in the way I'm feeling. But I guess sometimes it's as simple as it just doesn't connect. And it doesn't have to be a specific within it that is largely contributing or is the sole reason for that. Sometimes I guess things just don't connect. It's why people cry at certain moments. It's why people get angry and scream out and get happy. And sometimes other people don't feel those sort of emotions either. That's why some people love certain series that if you ask me to rate, I might give like a 3 to because I hate, you know, there's things that just hit for people and connect on a level that don't for others. And maybe it's as simple as that, but I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it because I really don't know. And I've been trying to think. I'm enjoying certain things and I'm not hating the series at all. This is not what I'm intending for this to be. But it's when I can find an episode that I think really nails everything that I should love and I still didn't come out wanting more. Something's off. Something's wrong. And I am a person who kind of would like answers to that, right? So me talking about this is me trying to seek that out, I guess, or just talk myself through it and find that. So I don't know. But that is where I'm at in regards to everything that has happened here. It'd be a way different story if I came out of the episode and I was like, I don't like how they did this, and I don't like how they did this, and I don't like this, and I thought this should have been changed, and they should have not had this sort of music, or they should have visually shown this a different way, right? But it's not. All that stuff I'm more than thrilled with. But it just didn't do anything. I don't know. Hopefully you can understand that a little bit, though. Let me know, though, if you have any general ideas or feelings or thoughts or about that. Maybe this has happened to you on other series. Maybe this has happened to you on this series. Maybe after this point, things really connected for you and you didn't feel this before. Maybe you felt great the entire way through, you know, and you just understand this, though, from a level of a different series that you find all these things that you think are it, but they're just not doing anything for you. I don't know. Let me know, though. Let me know if you got anything on that front. Maybe you don't, though. Maybe I'm alone and you've never had that sort of feeling. And if you've been able to appreciate these things in certain ways, you just have always grown attached in some sort of way. Let's just move on through the episode. So we go with a straight parallel, which is kind of what they've been doing, I think, for a lot of stuff, being slightly different on certain cases, but even going as far back as the first arc, finding characters and people who were inspired through those from before them that then take that inspiration and continue it onwards and then have their mindset altered and change over time, or maybe feel an initial way not being inspired through somebody else to the point that later you find things or you don't want things to go to a waste and you later try and inspire those below you who then want to take after you. It's a consistent cycle. It's a history repeats itself sort of scenario. It's a It's the way life goes, right? Can't really poke any holes in that one. It's just that's the way things go sometimes. And we firsthand get to see that with Piast this episode as he goes through it. He feels a type of way, he alters and changes slightly, and then he grows to be the exact sort of person and thing that he was against, to the point that he later just completely mirrors and finds himself in a situation that his master himself has basically found, right? His teacher here looking at him on his deathbed, basically crying out this way, while he later does it the exact way with very similar, if not the same sort of dialogue coming from it. The feelings from his teacher here to not want to give anything up, and wanted to do it all on his own within his lifetime, and then being inspired by that person below him being Piast and wanting to pass all this along to him. A similar thing I assume we get with Bedeni if he's able to live through this or maybe die on terms that he's prepared for, wanting to pass things on if things don't go as successful. While he said he'd be the only one who doesn't, they'd burn everything and stuff afterwards, right? These are things that I've been saying for episodes. I believe we'll head down that sort of route. And we fully get to see it. The passing of the key here, the passing of the key a little bit later, the not wanting to fully accept that your theory and the things within it are wrong from one teacher to another, to then pass it down another generation. It's pretty cool. But it directly mirrors and finds itself like that. The overall convincing, I think, of characters would probably be one thing that I do, I guess, dislike. I did say that before, that there's nothing really for me to. I think, like, it's a hard thing for me to fully get. On one hand, if you've dedicated your entire life to something, you're not going to be that, like, willing to just give it up as simple as I think a lot of these characters kind of are, and willing to just alter and change. But at the same time, there are people who think outside the box from what the norm is at this time. They're people who are out seeking the truth, and they're people who logically have been trying to think through a lot of the stuff that they do, even if it opposes the greater mind, right? So being able to be presently faced with the idea that the truth could be right in front of you, to outright reject it and then be as stubborn as you are to consistently stay and feel that way the whole time, might not be fitting in work, right? So it might make a lot of sense that while they might go through initial feelings of that, to pretty quickly come around to the idea that, no, this is logical and I should probably follow in this path and be confident enough to move on and give this up. And the fact that my work could be utilized for somebody else, regardless if it was dedicated to the exact same findings or not. If it did contribute and find something, it's a plus at the end of the day. I think that's fair. All the beauties of the world, all the things. But the problem is he has a complete wrong theory about the way that these things go, which easily gets picked up on here. Literal doesn't take too long, right? The eyes of somebody who can see perfect in a flash is able to tell, holy fuck, this is happening. And while he keeps trying to be like, no, you're right, you're good, right? You idolize this person you want to look up to and feel that way. But at the same time, you don't want to be the person who crushes them and takes that from them. He still doesn't want to lose it at this point in his own life. But being faced with it here last minute, wow, I really wasted the rest of his life. He wasted his whole life, and I could have altered and changed things potentially within these past however many years, right? What if you just came to accept it? What if you didn't consistently push this sort of feeling or train of thought, and you came to accept it in that moment? Now you don't have to rely on somebody like Oxy to come along and find it and confirm it for you all these years later, but you carried out your life searching this instead. How different things likely could and would have been. The truth that you may have been able to fully discover, not just on his own theory, but of the world and the beauty of it itself, that you can pass on when you're able to go to that place, is just something that you're potentially going to fully miss out, not potentially, did fully miss out on here. Here's the theory. Let's explain everything. Let's go look. I like them giving him a board and being like, all right, what? Cover your eye and read that. Prove he's got some good eyesight. Oxy goes through his typical, like, oh, fuck, like his doomer sort of feeling. It's valid at the end of the day, right? Wanting to come to terms with finding things. finding that hope, but then feeling like shit could go really bad, and then you lose all that and you have it ripped out from you right in front of you. It mirrors what went on years and years ago and what will go on, of course, tonight. When you end up taking it all from Biast and what he thought he was going to take from his teacher, it happens. Jolenta's nice to give us some encouraging words to continue onwards. But then he's good to find positive in anything that comes out of this. So let's take a look, and we find confirmation. Really great visual display to blow this shit wide open right here. I think it's awesome. Just immediately recognizing that that's what happened and breaking down in front of him, not wanting to put acceptance into it, which is fair. Not wanting to feel like he lost it all, but it is the truth at the end of the day. So let me hand it over. And even then, in those final moments, struggling still to continue and do so. We take a look at everything inside, which is great. No more use for Jolenta, which is the lame. Hopefully we do something. I feel like she'll be back. I love this question from Moxie. It's just something we always take for norm, right? It is what it is. We don't really think too much about how special these things are and how important that they actually are and where they've brought us and what they allow us to be capable of doing. I wouldn't even be doing this in front of you. I wouldn't be observing or taking in any of the content we're watching had this, not really been something that we put as much emphasis and importance on and evolve it to be something that's such a necessary, important system kind of about us. Right? It's literally like the first thing you learn when you enter into school and stuff, right? There's a reason they start you from the ground up here. Even at the end, you're able to look up, which I think it's great when his eyes fully are open and you get to see that within him. It's not too bad of a sight to go out to, is it now, brother? That's all I got. Let me know, though. Let me know based on some of the stuff I said. It's good for what it is, but I just feel weird at the end of the day, so I don't know. And we'll run it back with the next one. See how they continue to evolve. Maybe something will really hit me right here in the heart and get me going and get me wanting to root for these guys to find their answers and not just take it as a story of not too much more else. Hopefully there's some investment that happens. Hopefully you enjoyed, though. If you liked it all, like and subscribe on to me. Feel free to check out the channel. If you comments on this sort of series, we'll be back for episode 10 very soon. It was a great one, though.